Wind window is a quarter sphere in front of you. No. Maximum power is created when the kite stays in the center of the window. Not really. The best way to move the kite across the window is cranking the bar wrong. Hi guys, it is a well-known fact that a wind window is a quarter sphere located downwind from you, where your kite can fly. And actually it is a myth number one. When you do a loop and the kite is passing your level downwards, or if you're doing around the world maneuver on a hydrofoil, it even gets behind you. So in fact, wind window is 3/4 of sphere around you, except for bottom rear one. The kite can fly anywhere across them and in most cases still be in control. This statement is important because it means that the wind window in fact has no edge. The kite can go anywhere against the wind, it just depends on what you're doing. What about power zones of the window? There is a myth that a kite creates minimum lift while in zenith. In fact, the power is less when it stays around 9 or 3 o'clock thanks to the wind gradient. Because of some turbulence created by the surface, the wind is less strong near the ground. You can see it when your kite is changing position looking for a sharper angle of attack to keep itself in the air. Is that true that a kite creates most power when it stays in the center of the wind window? Actually no. In this example, you can see me dropping the kite to the center, and while I'm doing so, it really pulls me. But when it gets there, I'm standing still, having no power at all. It happens because, first of all, your kite is a wing. It creates lift mostly because of its profile and the speed of the airflow. And the speed is squared in the equation. When it moves, the airflow speed is high, you have a lot of lift. When it is in the center, the lift dramatically reduces because the movement stops. But it is not the only reason. Every wing has working range of angles of attack. When this angle gets above critical value, something called flow separation happens. The airflow separates from the upper surface of the wing, and the wing profile immediately stops working, because the airflow from laminar turns to turbulent. In aviation it is called stalling or backstalling in kiteboarding. That's why sending the kite towards the surface to the very center of the wind window will not work well, for example, when you do a water start. As soon as the kite gets there, the lift will decrease, lines tension will drop, and you will have no power. Moving the kite across the window far from its center is something that works better to create additional power. Edge of the window is usually explained as the location of a kite where the lines are almost perpendicular to the wind. Meanwhile, you can put the kite there either by edging hard or bearing off downwind hard, and these are completely different situations. So it is not so important where your kite is located, but how did you manage to put it there? As we already discovered, in fact, there is no fixed edge, no limit for the kite to fly somewhere. The thing is that this edge exists only in a given particular moment. As soon as you stop steering, the kite will stabilize in some balanced position where its angle of attack will be enough to hold it in the air. This is going to be its current edge point. What forces are affecting the kite at this moment? Have a look. The vector of lift created by the kite is always perpendicular to the airflow and therefore to the surface, since the airflow is parallel to the surface. At the same time, the kite is not able to stay directly above your head. Drag and gravity force the kite to shift downwind till its angle of attack, and therefore result force is enough to keep it in the sky. Which means that the lines will not be parallel to the vector of lift. Due to the downwind offset of the kite, there will be some angle between them. This angle is something that makes it possible for you to affect the kite position by increasing lines tension. When tension grows, result force grows together with it, making the kite shift upwind to a new position in the wind window. I am illustrating that for you when jumping off a small dune. Line tension increases and the kite moves further upwind. This tension drive effect is very important. It helps you to switch to sharper upwind course while riding, reduce speed, and even dramatically improve your jumps. We will get back to it a bit later in the video. So, can you put the kite to the edge of the wind window by steering? No. Technically, it is already there at the edge when it flies steadily. This position is defined by wind speed, line tension, and kite design. Subsequently, you're only able to shift the edge point upwind, and the only way to do it is increasing lines tension. I am explaining how to keep high lines tension to go upwind efficiently and to increase it in case if you want to change course or stop in the way of advanced kite video. It takes a long time and lots of effort to explain all the skills needed for that, and these are the most valuable skills for every kiteboarder, so check out the link in the description to learn more. What about moving the kite across the window? Is steering with the bar the only way to change the position of the kite? Actually no, cranking the bar just sets the direction for the kite. Cranking harder will not make the kite flying faster in the desired direction. It will send the kite deeper into the wind window with a higher angle of attack. It will fly faster, but in a different direction. Here we're coming to discover the biggest secret of big air, because the high speed of flying inside of the wind window is exactly what makes you jump high. Steering harder to make the kite fly faster is a wrong solution, because it will pull you more towards the center of the wind window, making the jump not higher but more horizontal. What is the proper solution? Remember that type of movement created by lines tension pulse. That is the key. After cranking a bar just a bit to show the kite a new direction, you have to use dynamic methods of increasing lines tension, and they are hanging on the lines, leaning back with your upper body, and back leg pushing. This triad is the tool to move the kite across the wind window incredibly fast. Thanks to using it, the kite accelerates immediately without heading more to the center of the wind window and creates more vertical lift. You literally steer your kite with your board much better than with the bar. And you will never learn high jumps without understanding and using this tool. I am breaking down these skills for you into steps in my Learning to Fly series, especially episode 2. This skill requires precise synchronization, since it works only in the process of leaning back or extending your back leg. As soon as the movement is finished, line tension will stabilize and the kite will fly a bit backwards and return to its balanced position, which we described earlier in the video. Your goal is to take off from the water in the moment when your kite flies with maximum speed, in fact meaning that your line tension pulse is at maximum level. All modern techniques like powered stance and pre-pops are invented to create maximum line tension. We're going to talk about pre-pop maneuver in one of the next videos, and I personally consider a pre-pop to be the most complicated skill in kiteboarding nowadays, despite the fact that it looks so simple. Subscribe to stay tuned. Creating line tension works better than sending the kite with the bar, also because the ability of the kite to fly across the window is seriously limited by the drag that the kite creates, which is proportional to the square of the kite's velocity. If you use a bar to send the kite fast across the window, it will take a lot of time for it to accelerate, and during that time it will be dragging you downwind. In turn, line tension pulse will accelerate the kite faster, and the kite will be heading in the proper direction to create more vertical lift. If you master creating high line tension pulse, you will be able to jump even without sending the kite to 12 from lower position in the wind window, because in fact, line tension pulse creates the lift with much more efficiency than sending the kite across the window with the bar along, and I want you to remember it really well. Hope this video was useful for you. Hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed it, and see you in the next episodes.